What's up, guys? Please welcome to the Footy Podcast. This is your host Shaunak, and I'm here joined with a good friend of mine, Vineet, who is a diehard Arsenal fan. Hi, Vineet. How,
Hello,
how are you, Vineet?
I'm fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
So,
fine. I'm certainly not in the right spirits considering the result,
yeah, yeah,
but I guess that's life. You have to accept some things.
yeah, yeah. So, your thoughts on yesterday's game, the little draw against Villareal?
I think it was sad, it was unfortunate, but to be very honest, it was something that all of us had expected. If you recall yesterday's discussion with you,
Hmm.
even I mean, we were. I mean, at least I was quite sure that we are not going to make it because I mean there are lots and lots of things to go behind it, which we can discuss in detail. But I'm just still trying to recover from the loss. You can say not been affected that much by it, but you can say that it was still a very bad defeat as such.
Yeah, yeah. But pointing out to the match and stats. So, what I'm saying is Villarreal were so great defensively, and they had three shots on target as well, as compared to Arsenal, who had even two or three, I guess. So, did you lack any offensive structure?
No, see, I think the problem that we have been facing since a lot of time is we have two strikers up front,
Hmm.
Aubameyang and Lacazette. When both of them play, it's either Aubameyang on the left, Lacazette to the center, and for someone like Aubameyang, who is the luxury striker in my opinion, you cannot expect him to play on the left and backtrack every time, come back on defense. I think he needs to be closer to the goal to score goals. Although I mean, it wasn't what was expected. I think we started with Martinelli yesterday, right?
Right, right, right.
So, so I think the start was good, but overall I felt that we were quite flat. There was no pressing, there was no urgency because it was like we were trailing in the game. We were 2-1 down, and we are playing at a home stadium. So what we need to do is we have to be, right. We have to start right on the fifth gear itself. Put pressure on Villarreal because uh, it's just the case where there's a bit of I would say a doubt because you have already sacked Unai Emery, who was your ex-manager. He's managing them, and so there's always a bit of uncertainty involved in such cases where you have that sense. Oh shit! I mean, he's your former manager, and we have to do our best. He should not beat us. I mean, he had his own agenda. He wanted to help Villarreal into the finals. And I think if you look at his track record as well, I mean, he has been a very successful manager in the Europa League.
Hmm.
So I mean, if you look at his style, uh, it was something that even we had seen at Arsenal when he approached probably all the big games in such a manner where he was I would say pragmatic
Hmm.
in approach, made sure that the opposition was not able to score goals against you. And I think he has also set up Arsenal in such fashion when he was the manager.
Right.
But what I did not quite agree with Arteta in this case was the attitude and the urgency was just not there.
Okay.
And we are playing at home. We have to chase the game. We have to really put pressure on them. That was almost non-existent. And like you said, we had two shots on target. I guess both those two shots hit the post, and it was Aubameyang with one of the headers, and the other one was a volley, I guess.
Right, right,
So
right.
that those were the only two chances that we could manage in the entire match.
Hmm.
And I would say that this match was no different than our matches in the Premier League. It's more or less the same. And you with players like Xhaka, who was a makeshift left back, I guess in the beginning.
Right, right.
What are you going to expect from Granit Xhaka? A fullback is normally someone who bombs forward.
Hmm.
I mean, we've seen two good fullbacks in Liverpool who have sort of set the template
Mm-hmm.
on how they should be. I mean, they are not magnificent in defense,
Right, right.
but they're very good in attack.
Mm.
I'm not expecting the Arsenal fullbacks to be at that level,
Yeah, that
but
explosive.
at least they have to make sure that they're in the right position. They have to make sure that they at least cross the ball inside, which doesn't happen quite often. I mean, I'm also talking about Hector Bellerin.
Mm.
I mean, he's a player. But I mean, he's not a good defender. He's a good player. He's good on the ball, but he's not good in defense. He lacks crossing. Very very poor in that aspect.
And
Kieran T.
any thoughts about your center backs? The one that you signed in January, the summer transfer window, Gabriel.
See, look, I think the entire defense is a bit of a question mark for me.
Hmm.
I mean, if you talk about fullbacks, Hector and Tierney, I think is the only saving grace
Hmm.
in this team. But if you talk about centre backs, David Luiz, probably, I mean, I don't understand why he was bought in the first place, because here is a guy who has won titles with Chelsea. I can understand that he's been brought to sort of influence youngsters, teach them how to win games. And the youngsters, the young defenders in Arsenal, Rob Holding, Callum Chambers, Gabriel. I mean, if you're really if you really want to win titles, then these are not the players that you should have in the team. And it's which is why I feel that it's no coincidence that Arsenal are 10th place in the Premier League,
Mm-hmm.
because with these set of players you can only go up to a certain level, and beyond that, I mean, you cannot expect much from the team. So for me, the problem is the defense. Like I said, there's only Kieran Tierney that is good enough. Probably Gabriel, who also has good performances in between, but for that age, I think it's quite difficult to have to maintain the consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that he'll become better. There was another prospect by the name William Saliba. I mean, he was not given enough chances.
You signed him from French league, right?
Yeah, he was said to be a very good player. There were many reports. I mean, none of us have actually seen him play for Arsenal,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, there were many reports that he was supposedly the answer to Arsenal's problems. I'm not saying that he's going to be a 8 out of 10 player or 9 out of 10 in every game, but I think he would have been a much better solution than Rob Holding or Calla or even Chambers for that matter. I mean, he's being shifted to right back. If you really look at his original position, it is centre back.
Center
He
back.
plays he has been playing there. And there have been lots and lots of question marks, even in terms of the contracts being provided to the players, especially Rob Holding, who has not had good performances as such, and yet he's been given hefty paychecks and contracts, which is another question mark. Then we move into the center midfield area. Now, uh, over the years, I think Arsenal has had brilliant center midfield players, such as Fabregas used to play before playing as a number 10. He used to play in the central midfield.
Yeah, along with
It was
some,
Fabregas.
along with some.
Then they had Aaron Ramsey, they had Cazorla,
Mm-hmm.
who played in that position. If you talk about the Invincibles, they had Patrick Vieira and Gilberto, but it's better that we should not go there, because it
Yeah.
would be an absolute disgrace to compare these players with them.
Yeah.
The current crop, out of the current crop, the only person that I think is good enough is Thomas Partey. Otherwise, I think Mohamed Elneny, then Granit Xhaka, Matteo Guendouzi was also part of Arsenal last season, but he had I think, some altercation with Arteta, due to which he was sent to. He was sent on loan basically. He had some sort of dispute with Arteta.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're telling me that you can go into the league with Xhaka, Mohamed Elneny, then we also had the most overrated. I felt that this guy was the most overrated guy in the Arsenal midfield. He was Lucas Torreira.
Oh my God.
Lucas Torreira had a great World Cup with Uruguay,
Hmm.
after which Arsene Wenger signed him in the team. But for me, I felt that he was just not suited for the league, because he's just 5 feet 5 tall, 5 feet tall. and he comes up against strong English opposition players who are already 6 feet, 6 feet 4. It's almost a no contest. Even though he's technically superior than them, he can play with the ball, but it just does not make any sense. So this covers the midfield. I think it's just not good enough. Honestly speaking, you can compare this midfield with any of the midfielders from City, second strength or third string players from Manchester City or even Liverpool for that matter. And I would still say they would still are better players than what Arsenal have in their first team itself. I mean,
But
if you look at Liverpool, they have Naby Keita, who can walk into this Arsenal side. Honestly speaking, he's not that great, but he can come and play at Arsenal.
absolutely,
This is this. I mean, okay. Now we finished about defense and midfield. We'll talk about the
I was
wing.
going to ask you about the attacking third. So, what do you feel about Gabriel Martinelli? Does he need to start week in and week out?
I think he does. I think he needs to start winning the week out simply because uh, he's a flair player. Honestly, he's a flair player. Yet he has that high work rate. He presses the opposition. He always comes back to defend. Always supports the fullback. And for me, he's a complete player, and he needs to be given chance. He needs to be given regular chances because he has still a long way to go. He's only 21 years of age,
Right, right.
and he has some good performances in between. Of course, consistency will come with time, but I mean, what other option do we have apart from Gabriel Martinelli? It's either Aubameyang who plays on the left, or it's Willian.
Hmm.
And I'm not a big fan of Willian because for obvious reasons. I mean, even if you ask a Chelsea supporter, I mean, he was good for the first 3 to 4 seasons. After that, I mean, whether or not I should say it, but he's just a passenger in the team.
But
And again,
what I honestly felt
with a very
at the start of the season was when you guys beat us, like Liverpool, when you guys beat Liverpool in the Community Shield, I saw some kind of optimism in Arsenal squad. Like they're going to do something for the upcoming season. So, what do you think about that? Like, did you see any kind of optimism when Arteta arrived?
no. See, I'll give you some context to that. I think we entered into the Community Shield with high confidence simply because we had won the FA Cup prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
And FA Cup was such a competition. There were 2 games against 2 top teams, and in both games, I think Aubameyang scored a brace.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it was a phenomenal performance, and I think I'm without trying to be sounding too over the top with my praises, but I think that goal which he scored against Chelsea, the final one, I think it was quite an iconic goal, to be honest, when he chipped the keeper, and I think that was a good goal. So coming into with that confidence, coming into the Community Shield, and Liverpool, putting their best 11. I think they had Salah, Mane, Firmino,
Yes.
all started. I guess. Am I right?
All the front three started. Everyone started, and then we
Front three started, but
later in.
and with that confidence, I think you require momentum, and momentum. I personally feel that it was a big thing. If you recall Aubameyang's form in the last season or the season before that, where he scored 22 goals, and it was a shared sort of a golden boot with it was shared between the 3 of them, right? Mane, Salah, and
Mane, Salah, and
Aubameyang.
Aubameyang, the 18-19 season where we finished second.
Yeah, so basically the entire season he played on the left. Why I tried to bring that up because every game that he started on the left, he kept on scoring goals after goals. It was basically that he created some sort of momentum for him. Once he created that momentum, he was in a good frame of mind. The game, I mean, he single-handedly took Arsenal to victories. If you subtract those goals from, if you remove Aubameyang's contribution from the team, Arsenal would have been at the same place that they are right now without his goals. What has happened this season is that he got injured in between. I think it was for the first time that he suffered an injury. Some muscle-related injury. Before that, I think he never suffered an injury with even with Borussia Dortmund.
Mhm.
So this was the first time that he had suffered I would not call it a major injury, but an injury to call it. Uh, After that, he suffered from malaria. So I mean, we are just nitpicking here. We are just trying to find. I will not say that these are excuses, but these are, I mean, fair enough reasons for his performance to drop this season.
Right, right, right.
But having said that, I mean, he's aging. He's 31, 32 right now. He shouldn't be playing on the flank. He has to start from the middle. And hopefully with Martinelli fixing his position on the left with Bukayo Saka, like you said, Bukayo Saka on the right. I think this is the way forward for Arsenal, and I think they also need to sign a number 10, because I can see the reason why some of the performances of Odegaard, especially the one against West Ham,
Hmm.
where we were 3-0 down, and I think it was a superb display by him, which really helped us to make it 3-3.
But
So for me,
any realistic chances of signing Odegaard this season, like next season?
no, because I think Zidane has made it pretty clear that he wants Odegaard back at Real Madrid. I don't know whether or not he'll get a chance in the starting 11, but why would they leave a player of this quality? And he's just 21 years of age.
Right, right. And
He's
what do you
definitely
think of Danny Ceballos?
no. I guess Danny Ceballos. I don't think Arsenal will extend his loan because he had some really rash spells
Hmm.
in between games where he just got red carded. Honestly, he could not control himself,
Hmm.
and that has really harmed the team a lot. I mean, he got a red card in the semi-finals itself in the first leg,
Okay.
and it was a needless tackle too, honestly speaking. But he could have done a better job. I don't think he'll continue at Arsenal. I think his time is up.
Hmm.
They have to find solutions.
Right, right. But to
And
see Arsenal,
that's the way.
club like Arsenal with such great historic importance, going to the downward slope. What do you think? Like I haven't seen any downward slope that before of Arsenal in the last 12 years since I've been watching, and I always feel like Arsene Wenger has been much more superior than these two guys because he used to carry Arsenal on his own shoulders to the Champions League every single season. He has done it.
See, I think it's. I would like to give some context to this.
Hmm.
I mean, in 2007, Stan Kroenke became he started, he bought some shares
Right,
in
right.
Arsenal at that point of time. I think by the next 2-3 years, by 2011, he became a majority shareholder with 67% to his name. After that, it was a long-standing battle between the two billionaires. One was Stan Kroenke himself, and the other one was Alisher Usmanov.
Okay.
He's a Uzbek billionaire.
Hmm.
He had 30% of share at that point of time, and Kroenke finally got it for 600 million eventually.
Right.
Now my point is, Kroenke, when Kroenke first came to Arsenal, it had a respectable team. Okay, I'm not saying that we had the best of the teams, but if you remember 2007-8 season, Arsenal had mounted a title challenge at that point of time
Yeah.
in 2007
Even
8 season.
even in the next season, they were in Champions League semi-final, if you remember.
Yeah. They got beaten by United
United. Yeah.
quite. It was a very bad game. No, but coming back to 2007-8 season, Thierry Henry had left Arsenal for Barcelona.
Hmm.
And Arsene Wenger had just, uh, instilled a new philosophy into the club, which was basically passing football
Hmm.
here and there. It was well suited for Cesc Fabregas's game because he led the team really well. We were really close to winning the Premier League. That's in, I remember, 28 games. We were 5 points ahead of United. But I guess there was a certain game in Birmingham where we had a striker called Eduardo da Silva,
Oh, yeah.
and he had his foot broken in that game. And it was an Aaron Ramsey type of an injury where his just foot was broken into two basically. It was that bad. the players at that time, the average age of Arsenal team was around 23 to 24 years of age, with William Gallas being the only, I would say, the senior player. He absolutely imploded in that game. He started crying at the end of the full-time whistle because Arsenal conceded a penalty right at the stoppage time. I think he made it 2-2 after that. Arsenal drew with Birmingham. And I guess that was the time where we just lost it. This is just about that season, 2007-8.
Right.
After that, we had, I would say, from 2007 to 2000, sorry, to 2021. That's how many? 14 years. In
Right.
14 years, we had 3 title challenges. I would say some might not even call it title challenges. I'm just considering it title challenges. 7-8 season and 10-11 season, where Arsenal beat Barcelona in the Champions League, if you remember.
Yeah, round of 16. The first
It
leg.
was 2-1 at home. Arshavin had scored the famous goal.
Oh.
Then in 15-16 season, where Leicester won the title,
Right.
there was absolutely no competition for Arsenal. In that game, in that season, we almost led for the majority of the campaign. And eventually, at the business end of the competition, let's say starting in February and March, we just lost our way. I think I remember it was end of Feb when we beat Leicester, when Danny Welbeck scored the header in the 90 plus 5 minutes of stoppage time or something. So it was a good win. It was good momentum, and people thought that we are going to now probably win this year. We had 2 good games, one against United and the next game against Swansea, I believe. United, we got beaten because of a certain young Marcus Rashford who scored 2 goals against us. Basically it was a joke because we shouldn't have let that United team win, in spite of the fact that they were playing at home, because it was a weakened side at that point of time. They had lots of injuries, and yet they ended up winning it, which just proved my point that it was a slow decline right from 2007 when Stan Kroenke actually bought the club. I would not say bought the club, but bought some shares. From that point onwards, there had been no investment in the club. Up to 2014, it was said that Arsenal kept on paying debt which they had taken for the loans and all the payments that they had to make for the stadium, for the new stadium. Till 2014, it was the case. After that, they cleared all debts, made all the payments on the banks, and they were debt free. At that point of time, you expect the owners to at least put some money in the team. I mean, I'm not expecting Roman Abramovich style investment, which is like FIFA 21 basically.
Exactly.
When you just select manager mode and you spend 200, 300 million on a team. I was expecting something in the range of, let's say, 80 to 100 million, let's say 100 million, because Arsenal were the most profitable club at that point of time. In 2015, they had made a survey, and in which Arsenal was the most profitable club. So there were questions being raised as to where the money is going and why is enough investment not being made into a team. And I think Stan Kroenke was one of the biggest reasons for this. There was absolutely no investment in the team. And as you can see, from 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, there has been slow decline. I mean, it was slow. Arsene Wenger, now coming back to the Arsene Wenger point, which I'll discuss shortly.
Right.
There was a slow decline. In between, they had to sell key players. Van Persie to Manchester United, Alexis Sanchez to Manchester United. And what we got from United were Danny Welbeck and Mikhail Sylvester. So, I mean, it's a joke, basically. I mean, we selling our best players to them, and they giving us, substandard players, honestly. But, it sort of gave us the idea where Arsenal stood at that point of time. We were a selling club. Whether or not people like it or not, we had become a selling club. And it has just deteriorated from that point of time. Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil, along with Giroud and the other players like Cazorla, Jack Wilshere, Ramsey, they tried to, go for that one last shot, which was the 2015-16 season.
Right.
And once it did not happen, that team was also dismantled by Arsene eventually. And now coming back about coming to talk about Arsene, I think that he definitely was a good coach, but I think he at the fag end of his career, I don't think that he did not do a good job. That is what I feel, because going into big games against clubs like United, Liverpool, then Manchester City, we used to get beaten at least by 5 goals. Bayern Munich, Bayern Munich
वो
were like
अलग ही चैप्टर है
definitely.
वो बायर्न म्यूनिख का.
Hey, Bayern Munich were the club that really enjoyed playing with Arsenal. Twice they have played. They have scored 10 goals in those in every each and every knockout rounds that we faced. It was really horrible, and it comes down to this slow decline, lack of quality in the team. Even at that point of time, when we were at least better than what we are today.
Right, right.
And eventually it was going to happen. Mediocrity, it cannot escape after some point of time. And this team, I'm really happy that the European Super League has not taken place, not materialized, because I cannot see Arsenal at least every week facing top team and getting hammered 6, 7, 8 goals, because that would have definitely happened. We cannot beat Villareal right now. That is the truth. And you are expecting us to participate in ESL, and it would have been absolute carnage. So I'm really happy that that has not worked out. But that's a topic for another day.
But do you think any potential signings can happen the next season?
I mean,
To strengthen your squad,
I
what
don't
signings do you expect?
I don't know, because see, I can in any club. I mean, there are three things that are important: it's the owners, the manager, and the players. But I guess this club is just dead at the moment, because it is a case where everyone needs a change. The players, some few players are good, of course. Few players need to stay, but there are many players that need to be replaced. And I'm also of the opinion that the manager needs to be replaced, but not now. I think the priority should be the owners. I think they need to be thrown out. I mean, it's not as easier said than done, but they have to go, because it's not helping. They are not doing a good job. It's quite clear. They cannot run a club, because what I personally feel is that they have turned Arsenal into not a football club but a business club or a corporate. They are running it like a corporate. I can give you some examples. Like last year, when the entire world was struck with the pandemic, for some reason they decided to fire 55 of Arsenal employees from the club. They decided to remove the club mascot, the Gunnersaurus. And I want to know what I mean, how expensive it is going to be to keep 55 people along with the club mascot. I mean, how expensive it is going to be, because on the other hand, you are giving deadwoods like Willian the best of the paychecks and good contracts, a 3-year deal. Can you imagine someone like Chelsea or United or City? First of all, they would not have signed Willian.
Exactly.
Chelsea let him go easily. Arsenal got him, okay, fine, but it's mismanagement. I mean, you cannot give such such fat paychecks to absolute deadwood players. I mean, it's rumored to be somewhere around 200K per week,
Right.
as per some reports. So that amounts to almost 10 million, if I'm right, 10 million per year. I'm quite sure that the 55 employees and the club mascot are not going to cost more than 1 million. So I mean, this is the mismanagement that we are talking about, and the Kroenkes have not done a good job. Like I said, they are just using it. They are running it like a business, and definitely it's not going to go down nicely with the fans, because in a country like England, football is what cricket is to us. I mean, it's like a religion.
Exactly.
It unites so many people together.
Yeah.
And it has rich history and tradition, culture, which you cannot just brush everything under the carpet. And just because you are the owners, you cannot come and start dictating terms. You have to respect the tradition and the history of the club. So I mean, it is not done, and which is why I think we are having such reactions, protests everywhere
Hmm.
against Stan Kroenke. And
Any
the only way.
any practical chances of a takeover?
Look, I mean, uh, you're talk you're we are specifically talking about one billionaire
Hmm.
asking another billionaire to actually buy the club.
Right.
We cannot trust the billionaires. Honestly speaking, I don't know whether supposedly the Spotify owner
Daniel.
who was already, yeah, Daniel Ek, who's already put a bid on table of 1.8 billion.
Yeah.
You don't know whether he'll turn out like Kroenke or he's going to turn out like Roman Abramovich. You don't know. But I believe that it's a risk that we have to take, because what we have at the moment, the Stan Kroenke is I mean, we have already seen what he has done to the club.
He's
So
mining.
I guess,
Mining money from Arsenal right
yeah, I guess what he's done is he has two franchises in USA.
now. Hmm.
One is Colorado Rapids, and the other one is Saint Louis Rams.
Hmm.
And he actually shifted bases from St. Louis to LA, so it has become LA Rams. And fans of those franchises are just are extremely infuriated with Stan Kroenke, and they don't want him to be part of their clubs. So it's I can say that fans have similar feelings. Even Arsenal fans don't want him, and even the clubs in USA, they don't want him. And I think it's the similarity is that he cannot run football clubs. I mean, he cannot run any sports club, honestly. So I think this is something that if the bid happens, if he accepts the bid, I mean, there is still so much of uncertainty. But whatever Daniel Ek has done so far is that he has ticked the right boxes.
Hmm.
I feel that he had set up a meeting with ex-players
Hmm.
like Henri Bergkamp, Patrick Vieira, who are also a part of the you know the bid, and they had discussed with Arsenal Supporters Trust, where they had tried to be as transparent as possible in front of the fans, and they have sort of given their ideas
Mhm.
about how the club should function, how the club should move ahead.
Absolutely.
But these are just ideas, and it's like it's just talk at the moment,
Right.
and we can only start believing it if it once it becomes walk the talk.
Mhm.
It's that thing basically.
Right. But
So
do you also think like Arteta is a very suitable manager right now for you guys, or Emery was? If we compare Emery and Arteta, who do you think is a better manager for Arsenal?
I think Unai Emery was given a fair chance,
Hmm.
and I would say that he did not do a good job.
Right.
Honestly, what I feel is that he tinkered the formation a lot. Every game there was a new formation.
Hmm.
The players did not know what exactly they should do. They got confused in between. This was what it was felt by not just every other Arsenal fan. But coming back to Arteta, I feel that he should be given some more time.
Hmm.
At least uh, every manager that takes charge of a club should be given at least 5 to 6 transfer windows,
Yeah, and
which means that
resources.
he
What I'm saying is,
hello.
hello, yeah. He also needs to be given the resources for transfer windows.
Yeah, exactly. He should be given at least 5 to 6 transfer windows,
Hmm.
which I'm considering that it means that he's backed by the owners, and he's given enough transfer money to
Hmm.
at least bring the players that he wants, and not just inherit what he has from Unai Emery. I mean, if you look at few of the players, they have been the same, right from Arsene Wenger to Unai Emery to Mikel Arteta. I mean, majority of the Arsenal players have been the same. So a new manager will take time, and it's quite understood. If Mikel Arteta is sacked, uh, probably in this month or at the end of the season, a new manager who comes in is going to eventually have the same players at his disposal.
Right.
He's going to have the same problems. He's going to have same players like Bellerin. So it's not. I personally feel that this is not the solution. I think they should stick with him, give him some more time, and at least if there's a change at the top, if
Right.
Daniel X bid is successful, then I think ex players like Henry,
Hmm.
they will probably give him some time, maybe let's say 1 year, and they'll say if you cannot change it, we've given you enough time. If you can make the changes, change the fortune of the club, you can do it. Otherwise, then once his time is up, they'll try to replace it.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So before wrapping up, I have just one last question for you, Vineet. Like
Mm.
practical chances for European football next season, given the fact that you're ninth or 10th right now in the season and still 4 games to go, yeah, 4 or 5 games to go.
No, that it's not possible. Even mathematically, I don't think it's possible. I have not kept any tabs of the table because this season has been so bad
Hmm.
that you just don't want to have a look at the table. So I can quite surely say that I don't know whether we are ninth or 10th because I'm just not interested anymore. As far as Europe is concerned, I think it's gone because there are more deserving teams than us.
Right.
I don't want a situation where we are winning 4 out of 4 games and by some miracle we end up in Europa League. I don't want that
Mhm.
because the best thing is if not being in Europe, sort of makes Stan Kroenke consider the bid because eventually not being in Europe is going to basically Arsenal are not going to get the profit
Hmm.
that we get from the broadcast deals, that we get from the kit manufacturer, that we get from the league itself.
Right.
Uh, he's not going to get that much amount. He's not going to get those profits. And if that prospect pushes him away, and sort of persuades him to accept the deal, I think it's going to be good for both parties.
Mhm.
And I think all we can hope is Daniel Ek turns out to be a better owner than Stan Kroenke, so that we can expect at least that we start competing
Right. Right.
for titles because uh, you know from that invincible winning season to 10th placed Arsenal is like
It's
a
like it's like
major
from
decline.
it's like from invincibles to invisible.
It's yeah, absolutely invisible, and that's the kind of decline that it has to be arrested at some point of time.
Right.
And if the current owners are not able to do it, or if they are just hanging on the club for the sake of it, just because it's a big brand and it has huge popularity all over the globe.
Hmm.
But if it's just going to be like that, then I don't think that they should continue, and they should just accept the bid, move on. That's the only thing that we can do. But there is also a situation where they might not sell the club at all. If that happens, then I can only fear for the worst because it can even get bad. Then if we think that this is probably the worst, then make no mistake about it. If within 2 to 3 years, we might see Arsenal battling relegation. It's let me it's that problematic because I can only think of one example. Just I think Newcastle went through a similar period of time, and they got relegated. Their owner itself is a big problem for them, Mike Ashley.
Hmm.
If you check that, so, I mean, it can easily be that bad, is what I want to say.
Okay.
So, I mean, somewhere someone has got to give. And I think this is the right time because things are very volatile at the moment. And if fans pressurize them through protests, through various avenues, and eventually, if we does consider the bid, I think it will be really, really good for both parties and especially for the fans, because it's I personally think that it's the fans who make the club,
Right.
and the owners are just custodians, and they are just taking care of a piece of history.
Right.
That is the only thing that they should do, and that's the way about it, as
Yes.
far as I'm concerned.
Yes. Well, thanks a lot, Vineet, for your opinions, and thank you so much for being on our show. And guys, we'll sign off right now. And please stay tuned, subscribe, like, and share, and comment. Thank you so much. The Footy Podcast. See you soon.
Thank you.